Let me demonstrate for you the idea of dynamic feature measurement and just show you how easy it is. The ATS600 is a great way to demo this just because you can simply measure the wall. And what I'm going to do for this example is measure the height of the ceiling. So to do that, what I'll do is I'll first bring up the camera, and the camera is over here. There it is. And what you can do with the camera is directly measure from it by turning on this little play button here. So what I'm going to do is first get a plane and then measure it. So I'm going to measure this plane, measure here, here, and here. And if you notice, as soon as I measured, that plane was constructed in SA. I'll make another plane, drag my instrument over, and we'll measure this wall. Alright, and you notice now I have two planes, and this is where we can start getting into the dynamic aspect of things, is by constructing a intersection line. And now I have a line that dynamically defines the intersection of those two planes, so basically the transition in this wall, and I can go ahead and measure the floor to get another example of that. So if I build another plane here, and one of the advantages of using this dynamic measurement thing is that you don't have to be up close. You can actually measure around corners and through things, and once you've measured a plane over here, you can then use something like this three-plane point to dynamically compute the intersection of those three planes. And if you notice, there is a point down here that's where that line intersected. And we can clarify that by building another intersection here, and maybe one more over here. Now you can see that all three lines and all point to that same intersection point. And in order to get at the height of the ceiling, what I need to do is now measure the ceiling, and that's another thing that the ATS600 makes pretty easy, is you just simply move the instrument's point of view up there, add another plane, and click on the ceiling rather than climbing up on the ladder. There. So if I now scroll up, you see there's another plane. I can do that again, a three-plane point, select these two walls and the ceiling, and I have a point, and now I can go to reporting and add my dimension. So there, in feet, inches, and fractional inches is the height of our building. So that's the cool thing about dynamic measurement, the whole idea that it recomputes easily. And the other thing that we did in this version was allow you to go and clear it and remeasure it really easily. If you go to clear, there's a new option, convert measured points to guide points. So I can just simply select all those and clear them out. And if you notice, it'll ask you for whether or not you want to turn on auto measure. And if I say yes, and we look at the properties of one of these planes, you'll see that the measurements were converted to guide points, and this auto measure option was turned on. And I did it for all four of those planes, so all I have to do to remeasure is hit the play button. And it'll run through and auto measure all three of the points per plane. And you notice that it dynamically recomputes, and as soon as that's done, the other features are computed. And here we go, one more time. And I have remeasured that same room height based upon the intersections again. That's one of the coolest things about this whole process, and why it's so helpful for repeated measurement, is if I wanted to remeasure plane 1, for example, all I have to do is double click on it, and we're smart enough now to say, do you really want to do this? You already have measurements, but all you have to do is say yes, and it'll remeasure that feature for you again. And if you notice, none of this was done with an MP. It was all done just directly through these trapping controls, which is what's really cool about this version, is we've now integrated all of that. And if you were to do something like roller alignment, where you're making repeated adjustments of a roll as you move and then remeasuring, just being able to double click on that feature in the tree and remeasure it would make your life pretty easy.